Welcome to the Insightful Loving Podcast, understanding how our unconscious behaviors cause problems in our relationships. Here's your host, Bhavani.
On Conversations with Bhavani today, I have asked my client Chris to join me with some questions he's had about relationship repairs.
Thank you, Bhavani. I'm glad to be here. My first question is, how do I keep listening when someone is upset at me and criticizing me?
Well, what I usually say is I want you to pause, just take a moment and get present. And then I want you to really turn to face your partner so you can pay attention to what they're really saying. Not just what you're hearing them say, but what you can see that they're saying with their body. It gives you a sense of their feelings.
Okay, what if her tone is triggering me and it's difficult for me to hear? Should I say something?
This is not the right time for that conversation. What's really important right now is that you understand that your partner is upset, and at that moment they feel disconnected from you. And the first thing you want to do is repair. You can bring that up at another time. It's always fine to bring up if you didn't like how it went, but this is not the time to do it. I would bring it up a couple days later and check in with them and make an agreement around trying to change that in the future. But what's really important is that you can see your partner cares enough to come forward with something that's bothering them. They're not going to let it stew. They really want to have this conversation with you. And you want to really hear all the truth that you can and sift it out if there's some other comments that you don't agree with. You want to take and own the truth of that.
So, are you saying that the repair is all about the person that is coming forward with the complaint, and I, as a listener, need to make space for it?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't want you to deflect what's important to your partner. It's really important that you make your partner feel heard and cared for, and that you're able to make a full repair, which means that you discuss how this situation isn't going to happen again. So you're going to own what you did wrong, you're going to say it, and then you're going to talk about what could be done differently. If you've got an idea of how you could do it differently next time, check in with your partner and see if that's going to work with them. And if you don't, ask them if they have an idea on what would work better for them next time. Because there really has to be a completion to know that it's not going to happen again. Because if your partner doesn't get a full repair, you're basically dangerous to them again. It means that it can just keep happening. And that starts to erode trust in the relationship. And that's not what you want. You want a full repair so that there's been no damage taken on. The ship isn't going to sink. You're in it together, right? And you want your partner to know that you really are genuinely sorry and you feel remorseful. You don't want them to have that experience with you. You're not happy with how it went either.
The ship isn't going to sink. So these are the rules of engagement for couples. I say that term because this is not warfare. This is the repair process.
Yeah, it is. And that's exactly right. You don't want to turn it into warfare. But if you don't listen and you deflect, it's going to turn into a problem.
You mentioned deflection. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, we have these little mechanisms when we feel threatened, right? And if you feel like you're being threatened or you don't want to be wrong, you don't want your partner to be right, it becomes a problem, and you try to deflect the subject by bringing something else up. It's not what the conversation is really about. It's not the time. Whoever comes forward and has the guts to have the conversation is the person that gets the respect from their partner to be listened to. And they do the talking and you do the repair. And it switches again when you come forward to your partner. You're going to expect them to face you and give you the same kind of respect that you deserve. So, have I answered your question thoroughly?
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Great, because repairs are something that I personally did not experience growing up. So I really had to learn them. And they've made a huge difference in my life. Understanding that I never saw it mimicked between my parents. And I certainly didn't have a parent make amends with me. But I did with my children. My youngest one especially, we did a lot of repair. And I feel like it's made a huge difference in our ability to have a healthy relationship with boundaries that we both feel safe in. And you want to feel safe with your partner.
I'll be honest, until I met you, I've never even heard of a repair process in couples, in a couple. So obviously it's piquing my interest. I'm really happy we had this talk today, Bhavani.
Me too.
You shed some light on some very important issues today.
I'm happy we got a chance to talk about them.
As a man, having been a conflict-avoidant person myself, I appreciate this idea of welcoming conflict, especially with my partner. I also think it's overlooked that you need to make space for your partner to be heard.
Yes, it's really important to build trust. And when you can argue and have disagreements, knowing that you make repairs, then you know you're able to learn more about each other. And it builds, closeness and intimacy. I want to thank you for being here and also being really open to asking your questions on my new podcast series, Conversations with Bhavani. Next time, we'll be talking about how society has been misusing the term codependency and how this has actually started to destroy romantic love.
Thank you for listening to the Insightful Loving Podcast. For free resources and materials, please join us at bhavani.guru.